What's up, everybody? JDX Pony here, and I'm a brony.
I'm Mr. I'm the One, and I'm a Saiyan. We are now on Chapter 3 of our dramatic reading of SHINRA High.
In which there are tentacles. Ugh.
So, in case you can't tell, Julia and Sephiroth just got to their science classroom with the dreaded Professor Hojo Okoko.
Where we left off, Hojo was getting trampled by everyone.
Yes.
And now we leave off with Julia. That sounds painful.
She laughed.
The bell is going to ring.
Julia observed, heading for the doorway.
We'll be on time, even if Professor
Okoko
won't be.
And flashing a brilliant smile at Sephiroth, she walked through the door to the chemistry labs.
This already hurts.
Oh yeah, it's a brilliant smile. Because she's OMG beautiful! She could have just said that she flashed a smile at Sephiroth without sounding like she's in love with the character. She sat down and dropped her backpack to the tiled floor with a loud thud noise before removing the binder and notebook she dedicated to science!
Science!
Yes, there were still muffled curses and shouting coming from outside.
Somehow I get the feeling that Hojo gets trampled scene was supposed to be funny. It would be funny in-game in a news bulletin, on a billboard, drawn on my grandma's grocery list, or in a decent fanfic. It takes a special level of fail to write about Hojo getting trampled and not make it funny.
Sephiroth was laughing quietly, enjoying the sounds of his father being trampled flat. God knows he more than deserved it.
They spelled then T-H-E-N again.
It's supposed to be a T-H-A-N.
Yep.
Naughty, naughty writer.
Yep.
Maybe one of these days the idiotic man would wise up and vanish permanently from the face of the earth. I mean the planet or Gaia or whatever the heck we're calling it today. He turned to Julia. Don't mind the noises too much. This is a pretty regular occurrence. He probably doesn't feel a thing right now.
I'm not too worried. He probably needs it. I've heard he's notorious for experiments that cannot possibly be considered humane.
The Final Fantasy VII canon would like to see you in court on charges of rape. Shinra keeps the experiments under strict secrecy. If anything leaked out to the general public, the company's image would suffer considerably. I doubt Professor Hojo is notorious for anything beyond his greasy hair. She smiled, almost sadly.
I'm an animal rights activist. While I can kill humans without a I can't speak, I'm sorry. Twinge? What is that?
Is that a word?
I don't know. Twinge? Without a twinge of consideration.
Is that I think that's conscience.
Conscience. Okay, that...
Or it's meant to be. They might have spelled...
We just raped the English language again.
We're not even trying to this time.
Just read that thing, please.
You know what? She says, I can kill humans. I can, not instead of could. This implies that Julia has killed at least once. Murder is not something to boast about. In fact, it makes her sound mentally unstable. Which would actually explain a lot.
True. I don't like to see animals hurt, and...
Her eyebrows rose in polite query.
Hojo abuses animals? Does he not?
The grip she had on her pencil tightened considerably, and the hand clutching it was trembling slightly.
Wait, from that line, is she a Shakespeare now? Does he not?
Does he not?
Does he not? Are we in Shakespeare now?
I do say, it doth be true.
Thou art an egg.
So yeah, shut up. Wait, okay, so anyway, abuses animals, so okay. She's fine with killing humans, but doesn't like to see animals get hurt. Yeah. Lots of people don't like to see animals get hurt, especially small things like kittens, puppies, or mice. But they also don't like seeing people get hurt either. Also, can kill humans!
Since when?
Yeah, and she doesn't specify that Hojo's experiments are performed only on animals. She says that Only that he's notorious for doing stuff that's inhumane, and then goes on to claim that she doesn't like seeing animals get hurt. Does that mean she's okay with Hojo experimenting on human fucking beings? Given her claim, I can only assume that's the case. The hypocritical bitch. Also, I'd like to know if she knew about these. She went out of her way to politely introduce herself and let him know she's in his homeroom class. Well, he was in a rage, no less, and then Sephiroth spent the next few lines of pointless dialogue bashing his character and explaining to Julia what a prick Hojo is. As if she didn't know. Where did this information come from?
I don't know. Just
Roll
continue.
on. Unfortunately, Sephiroth shook his head, it's really a shame. I don't understand exactly why Hojo does things like he does, but God forbid he explain anything to me. If there is one thing Hojo loves other than science, it's explaining things. Her grip loosened.
I suppose it can't be helped. I don't like it, but it doesn't occur to me that there is anything I can do about it.
Her normal cool composure returned. Sephiroth's slave and her OCR, surprise, surprise, animal rights activist. Now, while I find that a worthy cause to devote oneself to, it's introduced in a terrible context. The conversation doesn't flow naturally at this point. It looks like this little bit of information is shoved in there for the sole purpose of showing just how wonderful and considerate Julia is. More disturbingly, it shows just how little Julia thinks of other humans. Her gentle soul, quote-unquote, suffers when she thinks of animal abuse, but she suggests that she won't so much as flinch when she inflicts pain and kills other members of her own species, which as far as we know she views as barbaric, stupid, and unworthy of her attention generally. Forget about her having a huge ego. We're talking about a god complex the size of Jupiter here. She and her Sephiroth puppet are the only ones worthy enough to judge everybody else, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, but there is something you can do about it. A couple of things, actually. Number 1, stop writing this story. Or, number 2, rewrite your character so she's less like you.
Good words.
Yep.
Her mood swung so suddenly, Sephiroth was left wondering whether he had imagined that he cared about the moment of her weakness. He shook his head, honestly confused, but decided to forget about it, since a battered and beaten Hojo had just hobbled into the room looking fit to kill.
Lovely, he's finally here.
Julia looked bored. Oh, come on. I doubt her 2 black engraved brain cells are that difficult to keep entertained. Why is she bored all the time?
Oh.
It certainly took him long enough, didn't it?
Hi!
That's not gonna get old.
That's not gonna get old at all. I have to do it again. Hi! Far too long.
Wow. Hojo can't get a break, can he?
Nope.
Okay, so first they're laughing at his pain, then they're scorning him for being late, despite the fact that, in my humble opinion, recently trampled by a horde of unruly students is a pretty good excuse.
Yeah.
Hojo glared at the 2 in the back of the classroom, the 2 that still dared to be talking when he was ready to begin. A vein above him eyebrow twitched violently.
Above him? Wait, pause for a second. Above him eyebrow?
Yep.
Above him eyebrow?
If it's not talking about Julia, it doesn't need to be correct. That's how this fanfic works.
Above his eyebrow.
A vein above him eyebrow twitched violently before he shouted in a loud satanic roar, "Silence!"
I kill you!
He once again glared pointedly in his son's direction. It was at that moment Reno chose to come slamming into the room.
Okay. Choose.
He chose, connecting the door solidly with the back of Hojo's head. Make a door hitting the...
We need a door. Just open and close that door real quick. Hold on a second. We have a door opening sound. And close it. There you go.
Acting as though not a thing had happened, Reno flopped down at the table diagonal the one Julia occupied. What? Grinning at her, he glanced at Professor Kokoro and grinned at him, and then he glanced at the walls and grinned at them. Oopsies. Sorry. Under his breath he added, "Not." And louder, "Sir." He then proceeded to begin clicking the top of his pen, eyes scanning the room for any implements that may be used to create some sort of mayhem.
Do not say not. Say that he said it sarcastically, or sarcasm dripping from his voice. This is a high school. They're more likely to be sarcastic than say things like not or psych like grade or middle schoolers.
With a sarcastically worried frown. Well, there you go. There's your sarcasm.
Yep.
Julia stood up and nudged Hojo's prone/unconscious. This is a story/fanfiction. Make up your mind/decide when it comes to/on adjective/descriptions. Nudged Hojo's prone unconscious form with the tip of her boot.
Anyone here carrying a cure spell?
She kicked the professor in. The professor again.
You've messed up.
I did. I probably have before, but...
Yeah, you just move on.
This time harder than the first, trying to wake him without wasting valuable MPs.
Allow me to let you in on a secret. Magic points are used in-game for the exclusive benefit of your player. This way, he knows what spells he can cast and when to use mana restoring potions. In other words, battle strategy. Having magic points in a story is completely and utterly retarded.
Also, don't say MPs. That's not how it is in the game, yes? Well, that is how it is in the game, actually. But it would have sounded a heck of a lot better if they'd said, without wasting valuable magic on him.
Yeah.
Various people shook their heads. Sephiroth rolled his eyes. Julia guessed Sephiroth had a cure spell on him and casted a sense spell to confirm it. She had been right. Quiet laughter shook her shoulders ever so slightly as she returned to her seat. And of course she knows that he has a cure spell on him. That's not even what his sense spell does. I'm looking at what it does right now. It says, and I quote,
Okay.
I quote, view level/HP/MP/weakness, end quote. That's it. No knowing what spells they have, nothing other than knowing the level, the hit points, the magic points, and what they're weak to.
Huh.
He's not worth wasting magic on, Sephiroth muttered, wearing an odd half-smile. I wonder what that would look like. Two-Face.
Two-Face. Yeah, that's actually a good...
Yeah, and Sephiroth. Seph, can we call you Seph?
Sure.
We're calling him Seph. This can't be the real Sephiroth.
Yeah.
Thanks for at least saying he's not worth wasting magic on instead of saying MP like someone. It's your line, Bo.
My line? Are you sure?
Yeah, that's Julia.
Apparently, it seems we don't have a chem.
Chem. Short for chemistry.
I should have known.
That goof up is on you.
That goof up was on me. Sorry. Apparently, we don't have a chem teacher for today. Damn.
Why is Hojo teaching chemistry? It should be pretty obvious from the game and such that he specializes in biological fields. Hojo moaned and stood, eyes flashing a bloody crimson red. You all wish you didn't have a teacher for today, he hissed, showing off fangs. What? Ah, shit, Reno muttered, sinking slightly into his seat. He's gonna transform. Oh boy, overly dramatic transformation scene ahead. Are you on the edge of your seat with anticipation? Because I am.
I'm not. I'm laying on whatever I'm laying on here. He's going to what?
Julia was confused. But it didn't sound good, whatever it was. Personally, she really didn't want to find out. He just looked slightly dangerous. Amazing if you considered his average height. But he was the shortest man Julia ever saw in her life back in the first chapter.
Was she referring... Are we sure she was referring
She's talking about Hojo.
Are you sure? I thought she was referring to Reno at that moment.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Hojo was gaining height as his eyes glowed. His skin began to turn a sickly purplish red, and 3 slimy-looking tentacles were replacing his left arm. His right arm was elongating and formed a disgustingly bony claw. His lab coat ripped to accommodate the larger arms now filling the sleeves. His legs had been replaced by myriads of purple oozing tentacles. A set of huge black bat wings emerged from his back, the soft tissue torn and lacerated. His canines grew longer, forming sharp fangs, from which dripped a disgusting gelatinous ooze, synonymous with the lifeblood of the planet.
Is this a day of tentacle crossover? While it is true that Hojo does transform at one point in Final Fantasy VII, he does it because he had previously injected himself with Geneva cells. He does that shortly before our party finds him, not years before the start of the game.
Does the author even know what synonymous means? She just said that the life stream is made out of a disgusting gelatinous ooze, which is incorrect. The life stream is liquid and ether. I have a feeling she's referring to Mako, I'm pronouncing it Mako. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, hate me.
Yeah.
Please don't hate me.
Hate him.
Mako isn't the lifeblood of the planet. It's basically life stream that's been pulled out and refined by reactors. It's an artificial product, if you really think about it. And wow, she made Hojo drip life stream. Like, even if she wanted to say Mako, it doesn't make the picture better.
Ew, tentacles.
Hojo.
What?
I don't know. Sounds like Cthulhu.
Oh, okay. Oh, holy shit!
Julia was staring, wondering ever so slightly how such a phenomena could occur. Certainly Hojo was never reputed to be the most formidable scientist currently alive. But honestly now, no! Hojo never had the reputation as a formidable scientist, whether the other scientists were alive or not. The only reason he was head of the science department was because he killed Gast and Lucretia had sealed herself away. And going on the extended canon, Hollander was the only other actual researcher. The rest of the department were lab assistants and technicians. He was the most capable researcher left, which honestly isn't saying much. The reason Lucretia felt the need to protect him was because he was looked down upon in the scientific community. Hojo has an inferiority complex the size of the galaxy because of all his failed research. Even Sephiroth describes him as a walking mass of complexes, and Rufus points out that he's a 2-bit scientist because of his lack of imagination. At no point was Hojo ever a scientist of repute. The main reason he got picked as head was because of his success with Sephiroth, who he created with the combined efforts of himself, Lucretia, and Gast, under Gast's leadership.
Huh.
Did this author play the game?
I don't think so.
Sephiroth looked dead bored, as if he'd seen this occur 1,000 times. He glanced at Julia, remembering that she was a freshman. Don't mind him. He does this a lot, specifically whenever his class displeases him, or when he's stressed or just pissed off at the world, which he is most of the time.
Mutant Hojo is displeased by...
Mutant Hojo is displeased by your shenanigans.
Oh, I gotta say it. Hi!
She nodded, but only half heard Sephiroth's words. Her eyes were fixated on the new Professor Okoko. Stupid coconut name aside, Hojo is his last name, not his first. Feeling rather shocked and still trying to understand, the mystery of Hojo's sudden, seemingly baseless transformation into this beast. Sephiroth explained it 3 seconds ago.
Yep.
A frown crossed Sephiroth's face. Julia, are you all right? As if he cared.
But of course he cares. He has to. He's the designated love interest.
Yeah.
Not really.
It's really okay. He does this all the time. He placed a hand on her shoulder. 1,000,000 times, no! It's only for shock effect. He's never hurt anyone like that. He knew the last statement was a lie. It took all his willpower and self-control not to shudder. I can't do it.
Kill me.
Help me do it.
Okay. Ready? Hold still.
Ow!
There. Feel better?
Yes.
Good. Keep going.
At the memories of what Hojo had done to people in that form. But Julia looked like she needed to hear that he was harmless, which, as everyone else knew, he was definitely not lying to her isn't a good idea. If anything, she needs to know that he's dangerous, so she can be prepared if he decides to attack. Sephiroth is basically telling her to let her guard down. I see what you did there, Seth.
Okay, balance is restored.
Hojo hissed violently at the back of the room, where the most terrified whispers were. He directed his eyes at his son. You! Shut the bloody hell up, or I'll use you as the beginning of the year example of why you never piss me off.
Oh no, nerd rage.
Sephiroth glared up at his father. Shut up! There are people in this class that have never seen anyone transform the way you just did. They're scared. I'm reassuring them.
While Sephiroth did have a gentle side to him, he sure as hell wasn't the fountain of comfort and support.
I do not see any problem with that, so I'd recommend you calm down, or I'll be forced to report you. Hojo's look turned murderous. You press your luck too far, dear boy.
It says you press your luck far.
Far too far! He was in the back of the room in a teleported flash. A single muscular tentacle wrapped itself around Sephiroth's throat and tightened slowly. Here we go!
We're getting into the stuff.
Hojo grinning, eyes flashing, enjoying strangling, chalking, as opposed to choking, the life out of his son, enjoying his futile struggle. Sephiroth is Hojo's ultimate pride, his greatest achievement, and the only successful experiment in the Genova project. Hojo would not harm him like that. This whole scene is just a bunch of hell no.
Yep. Nerd rage is deadly, you know?
I know. It was Julia's turn to hiss.
Hojo, what type of teacher? Hell, what type of father are you? That you'd...
Her eyes went dead cold as she looked around the room.
I trust that there will be no mention of what I'm about to do. Anyone who dares to mention it to anyone will suffer the same fate.
This is an attack name, so say it like it's an anime.
Give me a second. Ultimate End!
Ultimate End. Hold up a sec. You done? She just summoned Knights of the Round. That's extremely rare. It's like, I think there's only one. But it's alright, guys. We'll get the story on how she found it and learned to use it at the age 16 in the next chapter. Oh, wait, no, not the next. No, wait. Updates coming in. We'll learn about this never. A 16-year-old girl who dresses like a goth to summon Knights of the Round. Let me repeat that for you. A 16-year-old girl dressed like a goth summoned Knights of the Round. Excuse me while I get my brain from behind the couch because it just ejected itself from the back of my head. For those who are sort of like me and tilt their heads with a what at Ultimate End.
That would be me.
Do it again.
Ultimate End!
This is what it is. It's copied from Final... This is what that Ultimate End theme is from Final Fantasy Wiki. Knights of the Round, also known as Knight of Round, is the most powerful summon in Final Fantasy VII. When summoned, 13 medieval knights appear and slash the enemy party. Its attack is called Ultimate End and strikes the enemy party multiple times. Yes, the most powerful summon in the game is being carried around by a goth girl with anger management issues. And she just used it on her science teacher.
I need to go get some brain bleach. I'll be right back.
I'll keep reading. 10 minutes later, she regained consciousness. She hadn't the foggiest notion of where she was. Regarding her surroundings warily, Julia struggled to her feet. Every bone and muscle in her body ached.
What are we doing again?
I don't know, we're about to find out. She just woke up 10 minutes later.
Oh.
A tall woman in a doctor's lab coat stared at her from across the room. You are a foolish child. Brave, but extremely stupid. Hey, she got the second part right. I like this nurse.
Yeah.
The spell you cast, whatever it was, tapped your life source for maximum damage. You could have been killed.
Yes, she could have. Do it again. Maybe it'll work.
Yes.
I won't even ask why you have unauthorized materia on the school grounds.
But of course she wouldn't. That would just get Julia in trouble, and she couldn't have that.
I won't even ask why you just so happen to be carrying around the best summon in the game in your pocket. Of course she won't die. She's the main character. She has plot armor, trademark, about as thick as the combined stupidity of everyone in this school.
Yep. Thanks.
She thought for a moment.
Am I going to be suspended?
No.
There go our hopes and dreams.
Damn it.
I heard what happened. I understand.
A frown crossed the school nurse's face.
Professor Okoko is...
Professor Okoko makes the Kokoro go Doki Doki.
What?
It's a long story involving just basically the Japanese language and stuff.
Okay, tell it later.
I will. There will be a little explanation in the description.
All right, continue.
Professor Okoko is rather known for his temper.
But he is not!
Ah, Belaine. Hi, but Mr. E. This is the Berserl world. Nothing is right here.
Let me get this straight. Hojo is a raving lunatic who transforms into a murderous tentacle monster. People around the school, even the faculty who also work for Shinra Corps as he does, know about it and allow him to keep his job. And according to Julia, he conducts notoriously inhumane experiments on animals, possibly even humans. However, in the first chapter, Julia states that her reason for being sent to this school is so that she could study under Hojo. Shinra recommended she study under Hojo, and so her parents specifically sent her to Hojo. Either her parents are epic trolls, or they just really want to get rid of her, and they think she'll stay away if she tutors underneath someone who's as psychotic as she is.
Do we need more brain bleach?
No, we can do this.
Okay. Is Sephiroth alright?
Her voice cracked slightly.
Yes, he's already awake. There really isn't much anyone can do around here that a cure spell can't fix.
Including psychological trauma, right? Wrong.
Where is he?
Around, probably in the waiting room.
Thank you for helping me.
Julia turned and strode from the room, ignoring the swaying and dizziness that fogged her mind. Sephiroth was sitting in a chair in the far corner of the relatively small room. He had his head resting in his hands and looked exhausted. When the door opened, he looked up, his expression dead and a dark bruise around his neck. Alright, who's been giving him hickeys? Cloud? Cloud, was it you?
No, shut the hell up.
Was it you? Hojo? Don't answer. I don't want to hear about it. Okay. It's fine. Fine.
No?
No.
No, you sure? It sounds like
Julia darted forward.
Are you alright?
I'm fine. His eyes were clouded with worry. I bet he's thinking, how will I ever get rid of this stew? What about you? That spell would have gotten Hojo back even if you hadn't tapped your very life to add power to the spell. He wrapped his arms around her. Please don't risk yourself like that.
I'm moving away now. I am.
Screw the bleach. Give me poison.
I'll be back.
True love, trademark, has shown itself. Oh, thank God. I was getting worried. It's only the third chapter of the original out of the 59 that make up the original fic. We're going to do the sequel as well.
There's a sequel?
Yeah, it plus this gives us the total of 170 chapters.
I'm only doing this one. I'm not doing the sequel.
Fine, I'll solo the sequel.
You can... Shut up.
You'll join.
I probably will.
She was shocked, but only for a moment.
I had no choice.
She finally allowed her worry to show.
He would have killed you.
She leaned into his embrace. We can only hope Sephiroth gets killed for his own sake. Then he could be out of this godforsaken story. She needs to rewrite this. And I don't mean the actual rewrite, which is a thing that exists. I mean a rewrite of the rewrite, with no Julia. Or at least all original characters set in that universe instead of every single canon character having twisted personalities. On the bright side, that's chapter 3 done.
That took so long!
See y'all later.
Can we go kill ourselves now?
No.
Oh.